So, Michael,
Yes, sir.
on Monday we had like this Star Warsian theme thing going on because it was May the 4th, right? So that got me thinking that Beth is probably trying to do something again. So I looked up what exactly is celebrated on May 6th. It's National Nurses Day. I don't see her doing anything with nurses, though, because I think she's still salty over being in the hospital with the broken leg thing back in November.
Oh,
So I don't
have one
see
of the
that.
worst nurses ever in outpatient. Oh God.
See?
Anyway,
No, not outpatient. Post-op.
post-op. That's
Yeah.
what I meant. Yeah. Worst ever.
International No Diet Today promotes body acceptance and healthy living. That seems contradictory to me, so I don't think she'll go there. National Beverage Day. We all like a beverage. That one's possible.
All right.
National Skilled Trades Day. I don't think that's topic worthy. National Interpreter Appreciation Day. If that was something big, though, I think we would have seen that on TCF this morning with the court interpreters, but we did not.
Yes.
This one's a possibility, though. The Great American Grump Out encourages people to be cheerful. I think she could give us that topic with like an anti-stance to it, because that's just more in line. But this is the one I think we're going to talk about. It is National Crepes Suzette Day.
Mm,
And Beth like her food.
I do.
So I'm thinking
isn't every day some kind of a food day? It's just, and that fits in very well. That's why, well, I can't speak for everybody, but I'll speak for myself. That's why I'm fat. I mean, every day is National Food Day.
Every day is
Food
National
Appreciation Day.
Yeah, every day is National Damn I'm Hungry Day.
Yeah.
I
sometimes hangry.
Yeah, or hungry. That's a good point. All right, he's Mike. I'm Dan. We're in the blind. It's in the blind with Mike and Dan and a glitchy intro. Why? Don't know.
Because it's a Monday. Oh, wait, it's Wednesday.
Except it's a Wednesday.
It's Monday 3.0.
I don't know. Everything worked fine before I hit the button. Whatever.
I swear that's just how all technology is. We really are just all a bunch of wily coyotes at this point. Everything works fine until you actually.
Acme.
Yes.
I don't know.
Acme's House of Myth.
Alrighty, friends. On that note, it's in the blind with Mike and Dan. If you're new here, here's how this goes. We have no idea what we're going to talk about. Beth is going to let us know that in just a moment. We have two topics. No idea what they'll be. We'll discuss each of those for 20 minutes, and then we'll go into the true-false round, which is all sorts of fun. Feel free to play along in the chat. Smashify the like button if you have not already, seriously, because we're trying to get this show found by more people, and that's the biggest thing you can do to help us. And go to itbshow.com and get your show notes. And also feel free to donate to us while you're over there. That'd be cool, too. And we lost Michael.
I'm here.
Okay.
It's a glitchy Monday, Wednesday.
All right. I've got duct tape and paper clips nearby so we can patch this together if we need to. And yeah, are we ready?
Yeah, okay.
Hit it. I
am ready very much. It's my glitch.
Great.
Okay. So, most of us treat dreams as something separate, like a side experiment that doesn't really count. Something that has happened while we're asleep and then fades once we wake up. But if you think about it, that line isn't always as clean as we pretend it is. People wake up from dreams feeling real emotions, fear, relief, grief, sometimes strong enough to affect your entire day. You can have a conversation in a dream and still feel the impact of it hours later. You can dream about someone you haven't seen in years, and suddenly they're back in your thoughts, as if something actually happened. And what's interesting is your brain doesn't fully separate those experiences in the moment. So while you're dreaming, it feels very, very real. Your reactions are real, your emotions are real. So even if the events themselves didn't happen, the impact sometimes is real. And that raises a strange question. If something can influence your emotions, your thoughts, and even your behavior, does it matter whether it actually happened, or does the effect make it real, but just in a different way? And if that's true, should we treat dreams as a form of reality?
I didn't see anything about this being National Dream Day or anything like that. So
No.
what gives?
I don't pay attention to that stuff usually, so.
So you only did that for one day.
Yeah.
You lied to me. You said you were going to try something new for a few days in a row.
No, I didn't. I said I was going to try something new.
See, now you're denying.
That's because you misremembered.
All right.
All right.
All right. Mommy and Daddy are done fighting now, Michael.
I was going to hide under the desk again. Makes me upset when Mom and Dad fight.
I don't think it matters at all if dreams are real or not. I mean, you said it yourself. The effect is definitely real. It certainly can be. I mean, I've had some profound dreams, most of which I prefer to keep to myself because they're personal. But
because they're illegal in some states.
I'm not going to go. Not going to go into detail. You figure out the reasons why.
Only fans' dreams.
All right.
All
No, it's. I mean, look, I think that there can definitely have just as much of an impact because dreams are almost to go like modern tech programmer kind of route. Dreams are like a sandbox. They're a place to experiment, to sort things out. And I think that's part of the purpose of it is to work through things that you don't get to work through during the normal course of your day. And it's often trippy, super weird. And there's other thoughts on dreams too and why they happen, which we can get into, I'm sure. But just at the surface level of what it might be, I think I think it's just a way of sorting stuff out. So I think that alone makes them valid and definitely real, at least to you. I don't know. You, Mike?
Yeah, I mean, dreams, I have many different kinds of dreams. Some of them are replaying a moment in reality that actually happened, but it just replays it sort of maybe in a different sequence or maybe the same way. Some of my dreams are very lucid. Some seem very real and have very realistic elements to them. Some are slightly off, like the sun is at a slightly different angle, unusual angle or something, and that clues me in that it's a dream. Sometimes the physics are a little off, and you got the low gravity, and there's all sorts of different settings and modes in these dreams, and some are just completely wacky and just unexplained. Some are talking to people that have died. I can't tell you how many dreams I've had about my dad. I've spoken to my dad and in the dream, like I realize, like, wait a minute, Dad, you died in 2002. He's like, well, no, I didn't. I'm here. I'm like, okay, but this doesn't make any sense. Then you try to rationalize it. You try to figure it out. And I've done this with other people that have died. Like, you just have these dreams where you're interacting with them, but it's kind of in a modern setting and you're trying to make sense of it, but you don't know you're dreaming sometimes. Other times you figure it out. I mean, so it's like, there is sort of a micro reality to it, at least in the moment. And sometimes it's just complete BS, but you kind of ride with it or go with it or whatever. They have varying emotions. I've woken up scared before, momentarily because you don't know where you are. It's very disorienting. I've woken up laughing sometimes because there's just silly things that happen. And then a lot of them are just mundane. I mean, I have literally had a dream about sitting in this chair and doing this very show. You know, and it's weird, right? But sometimes you just replay or just do your normal routine. And so, you know, and why does that happen? I mean, we analyze dreams, we try to figure out what they all mean, and I wonder how much of that is just a bunch of bull crap. I mean, do they have to mean something? Do they have to have significance? Obviously, some do, but are we really meant to know what that is? Is there any way to know what that is? You know, if you're dreaming about a loved one that died, yeah, okay, surface level, yeah, you missed that person, or you want to have, you know, another interaction with that person, or maybe you didn't get to say goodbye or whatever. But it doesn't necessarily have to mean that, right? I mean, so I don't know. It's a fascinating topic for sure, but and there's a lot of ways you can go with it, but there's definitely a part of our reality. They certainly partially shape who we are. Now, some people claim they don't dream, but I don't buy that either.
NPCs.
Yeah, yeah, and exactly.
To go off on a little bit of a nerd rant, though, there are some insomnia meds that will actually tamp down either partially or completely your dream cycle.
Which can't be healthy long term.
No.
Well, so first off, where did it go? Oh, Lindsay, here it is. Lindsay said to you, Mike, a dream of ITB or a nightmare. That's what she wants to know. Is it a dream or a nightmare?
It's just a regular dream. It's, you know, although I will say, you know, what's weird though, is I have had dreams. When I used to do my live show, I actually had dreams that I overslept and then, you know, and got there late or, you know, I show up to class later. I have a lot of dreams about being in school still. And then like, I show up and it's like November and I haven't done any work. You know, there's like weird things. I'm serious. It's a weird, and I don't understand what that means exactly. But yeah, those are the kinds of dreams I would have too. And I still have some of those sometimes.
To answer Lindsay's question, he's probably getting rapid fire questioned with the stuff from the lightning round, all about weird things from medieval Europe. That's probably the nightmare.
Yeah, that's my nightmare. So Barbara said, I feel very strong that those are real visits from our past loved ones. I will share this dream, which I've never shared beyond Beth before, and Grandma TCF, this will be new to you too. But I had a dream with my father in it a few days after he passed. And I've always regretted how that dream went down, because I said to him, "Why are you here? You're not real." And he said, "Well, son, I just want to talk to you." And I said, "No, don't be in my dreams. You're not real. You died." I've never dreamt of him again. Not once. So, wow. I mean, was all of that in my brain and just shutting it off? Was it real? Was he really trying to speak to me from beyond? I don't know, because there is a certain belief by a lot of people that in one way or another, dreams are also kind of the lowering of the veil.
Yes.
You know, so you can see further, see beyond. And if that is the case, then Barbara may very well be right. There's also the question of if like the multiverse theory is true, and there are like every decision creates its own new universe and all of that. So there's multiple instances of things playing out. Is that lowering of the veil allowing you to see into those other universes? So you're seeing other possibilities of what might happen or what's going on. And that in and of itself would be real, just real in a different way, a different dimension. It's very complicated, you know. It's nothing that we'll understand in this life, maybe in the next one. But it's, I mean, how do you even scientifically prove what a dream really is?
Well, and again, I'm not. This is something I struggle with. As somebody that's not a so-called person of faith necessarily, but I have to say there are some things that I cannot explain. And one of them is, so to your story, Dan, and again, I have dreams about my dad, and I'll say, I don't say you're not real, go away, but I do say, I don't understand, you died in 2002. But then I'm there at my grandma's, condo with him and my grandma, who died a few years ago, at 99 years old, my grandma Groff, his mom. And there's that, but so the weirdest one though is a few years ago. Michelle and I fell asleep downstairs on our recliners, and I in this dream, the phone rings. I answer it. It's Michelle's dad, Richard. Now he had died, I don't know, a couple of months earlier. Well, he was telling me, he goes, "Hey, can you Michelle never answers her damn phone. I don't understand why she has a phone. She's not going to answer the damn thing." Anyway, so he starts talking to me, and we're just talking because I had talked to him a few times, but he told me stuff that I didn't know and no one had ever told me about him. Like, for example, he worked on the radio in 1955, and because he thought that I would want to know that. And in Nampa, Idaho, he was on the radio. He was like 16 years old at the time, and he did some work on like the radio in the mornings, and he, for several months, he did this, and he told me about like what he did, and then he gave me some other details of just things that I had no idea. No one had ever told me about him, and I wake Michelle up, I tell her what happened, and then we tell Michelle's mom, who's still alive, and everybody was like, "Well, that's really weird. That is very strange." And I can't explain that because it's information that I didn't know. No one had told me. I didn't hear it anywhere. But when I told people about it, they go, "Oh yeah, that happened." And I, and I told Michelle, "Well, he's trying to call you, Michelle. So, answer your damn phone." So it's very strange, right? I mean, that's, I cannot explain that.
That definitely fits into the lowering of the veil idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it really does. I think if there is a lowering of the veil, I think as we get older and older, it's harder and harder for that veil to come down, which in dreams are probably the only place that's left for that to happen. Because look at small children and the things that they swear that they see when they're awake. You know?
Yeah.
Eli, it's crazy stuff he would see and tell us about. My other children, same way. But as they get older, that seems to pass them by.
I think there's a bell curve there, though, because if you're really sick or approaching the end, I think then it swings back the other way.
Yeah. No, that seems pretty clear too. When your father was near the end, what he was seeing and stuff, you gotta really wonder. But yeah, I don't know. Whatever it is, I definitely think that there's something to dreams that makes them more than just story time, because they do affect you often so deeply, and they are hard to shake off often. Where you could have you could read a book or watch a movie that affects you emotionally, but then you take your last bite of popcorn and you move on with life. There's certain dreams that you have that just stick with you forever, and to certain things you can't explain, like you just went through, Michael.
Yeah,
we've all had that too.
I cannot explain that.
Yeah, and I've had them before that are almost predictive as well. Like you dream about something, and then a couple of days later, that thing or something incredibly similar happens.
So
And it's not necessarily something that's connected to you either. Like you're affecting the outcome.
So I will tell you that has also happened to me one time in the 8th grade in 1991, October of 1991. We are, we're getting on the bus, getting on the school bus, going home, and it's cloudy, but it's kind of hot, and and I'm tired, man. The school day back then, I don't know. Kids don't even spend any time in school now. We went till like 3:30 or 3:40 or whatever. So I'm waiting for the damn bus to take off. So I nod off while we're still just parked there waiting to go. And I have this dream that we're driving home. We're going up our usual route up on like 34th Street. And we hit a guy on a bike. And it was right there near like Indianola or something, which is a little street south of Indian School here in Phoenix. Well, so I wake up and I tell my buddy Chris Goldie, and I tell him, hey man, I just had this dream. You're not gonna believe this, man. Like we hit a bike and a guy on a bike and everything, and it was weird. So no more than about 15 minutes later, we're going up that road. Now it wasn't exactly where it was in my dream. It was about a street south of there, but this guy on a bike comes around the corner a little fast, and we kind of slow speed hit him and knock him off his bike, and he gets knocked unconscious. He's okay, I guess, but he right there. And Chris and the other guys that heard me talking about it go, what the? They're like, that's the weirdest thing. It wasn't exactly like to the letter exactly where I said it was going to happen, but it happened nonetheless. Now, it's one of those things. We've almost hit people on bikes 500 times on that bus, right? Mm-hmm. The bus driver was like 1,000,000 years old. We've almost hit people 1,000 times. Right. But this time it actually happened, right? So, is it one of those things that by the numbers? I don't know. But it was so freaky how it went down. And again, I can't explain that. It was not like I had that dream every time. I didn't really nod off on the bus very often, but that was just a situation. I can't explain that. That's the only time that that level of precision that it's happened. I've had other things that are kind of, these weird kind of coincidence things, but that was absolutely off the charts.
Yeah. Imagine.
Yeah. And everybody was like freaked out about it. And then they're like, well, what's the lottery numbers? I'm like, I don't know, man. Can't have anything useful. I just have a dream about a guy getting hit on his bike and he falls off and goes unconscious and pisses himself. I mean, that's and that is literally what happened. And then, we found out the next day. Yeah, he was okay. He just got knocked out. But that was, it was weird too. 'Cause like the police had to come, and yeah, man, that was, so I don't know. Those are the kinds of things that dreams can do, I guess. And I don't know what else to make of that. And again, a lot of dreams I have are just wacky, stupid things, a washing machine chasing after you or whatever, weird, weird stuff. Maybe it's just like, hey, do more laundry, asshole. I don't know what the dream is trying to say. But no doubt some of them have some sort of weird connection. And it's, and as a person of science, it's hard for me to rationalize that, but and I'm always trying to come up with an explanation, and I don't have one.
Well, here's another one that I'll give real quick. So we got about a minute and a half left, and there's time for it. Another dream that I had that I have told people about. And this was 20 plus years ago, probably 25 years ago now. Because I was still with wife number one. So, and it was very vivid. I was, the doorbell rang. So I was walking to the front door, and I opened the door, and there was somebody there with a shotgun, and they shot the shotgun at me, which threw me into the wall back behind the door. And I immediately woke up and I was clenching my chest. And Jennifer, wife one, wakes up because she hears me and she's like, "What's wrong? What's going on?" And I just said, "Somebody just shot me." And she's looking at me and it's like, "No, you're fine." But I had like real pain. And I believe that I might have had a small heart attack. But the question I've always had is, did the dream create the response in my body, or was my body actually having some type of a heart issue and the dream happened because of that? Which came first, the chicken or the egg? That's another question that, you know, what exactly went down there? I have no idea.
I don't know. The science mind of me would say it's the latter, but
Yeah.
I don't know.
But the body will also often respond to what the mind wants. The mind will make something real in your body. So, you know, was the pain the result of the dream, or was the dream the result of the pain? I don't know. Either way, it was incredibly real. It hurt like hell.
Yeah, for sure. We've turned this into unsolved mysteries with Mike and Dan, but
a little bit.
Yeah, but I mean, that's the thing. Like this kind of a topic, it just brings out the unexplained. Nope.
Yeah.
Oh, there it is.
Okay. It's glitchy tonight. This is fun.
A little bit.
Glitchy like a dream.
Yeah.
Hey, by the way, where's our chat?
Oh, you want the chat?
Yeah,
Here.
please.
There's the chat.
Sorry, back end stuff.
Glitchy has entered the chat.
I didn't even think to pull it up because the way we have things now, I can't see that chat.
Oh, okay. That's the only way I can see it.
The font height is like a 0.5.
No.
I know.
So I've literally got to monitor it over here.
And you know, the reason I wish I could, you know, respond to chat and stuff more often on all of our shows that we do, but if I did, all you'd see is the top of my head. I'd have to be like this just to see it. You know, that's what sucks. You know, it sucks about being in the blind, like literally in the blind.
Have we considered getting you Braille chat? We were talking about Braille before the show. Somebody work on that.
You'd have to have an assistant,
right?
Printing it out in real time.
No, and actually you wouldn't. There's a device that you can do that. So in one of our groups that we're in, there's a guy that's deaf and blind. Yep, and he has a device that he wears around him, around like his neck. This cool device where he can, you know, it allows him to text people and stuff. And he reads the Braille like as it comes in. It like puts it up there for him somehow, and then he can respond. It's really, I mean, it's cool. I mean, it sucks that he's deaf and blind, and because he wasn't always that way, and it definitely bums him out. But you know, he's such a cool guy. And that's a neat bit of technology that he has that allows him to do that.
I was going to say, unfortunate for him, but at the same time, the tech sounds amazing.
Yeah, it's
very
cool.
Kidding. I was just kidding around.
No,
I like
it's very possible to accomplish that if I just could read Braille, which I used to be able to. But yeah.
All right. I had a little bit of a death rattle there. That was exciting.
Careful.
All right.
Joys of getting older.
I know. This is horrible. Don't get old. Don't try it. It's not worth it.
In the grave with Mike and Dan.
Oh gosh. No. There's some foreshadowing going on.
Hold on a minute while I mute myself.
Excellent muting.
I muted my mic, not hers. I can't be responsible for how the sound moves otherwise.
I don't have a way to mute that's very easy to accomplish, so.
All right.
Unplug.
Topic 2?
Sure.
All right, go.
Okay, here we go. So there's something about uncertainty that quietly shapes how we live. Most people don't know how much time they have, and because of that, there's always this open-ended feeling. Plans get made, things get postponed, opportunities get weighed against time, as if there's always more of it later. But imagine that uncertainty disappears, not in a vague way, not in a rough estimate, an exact date, a fixed point in time where your life ends. No changing it, no avoiding it, no extending it. Just a certainty that sits in the background of everything you do. And what's interesting is that kind of knowledge doesn't just give you information, it changes context. Every decision becomes framed by that endpoint. Things that felt urgent might not anymore. Things that felt distant might suddenly matter. And at the same time, it raises a different kind of pressure. Because if you know how much time you have, what do you do with that knowledge? Do you live the same way, just with more awareness? Or do you feel like you're supposed to change? Like that there's a right way to use that time? Which raises the question, if you knew the exact date of your death, would you feel morally obligated to live differently?
Okay.
So you
Thoughts,
guys kind
Michael?
of foreshadowed that one.
I've been asked this question in a similar way before, and this is a hot take, but hell yeah, I'd want to know exactly what day is coming. I don't like uncertainty. I don't like mystery. I mean, I do, but when it comes to things like that, no, give me the exact date and time and the means. How's it going to happen? How's it going down? Let me know. Is it a stroke? Is it a heart attack? Am I hit by, a freak blimp accident? What's going to happen?
Freak blimp accident?
Yeah. Like, maybe a Hindenburg or something. Like what, something. Just let me know.
Goodyear's coming down.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, exactly. How's it going to happen? Let me know. Date, time. I can prepare for it. Cool. Would it create a moral dilemma? Not really. I'd probably live the same way. I mean, sad as that might sound. I mean, because it's not like I could suddenly do anything different to change the outcome. So I would just do what I was going to do, and I'd just prepare. I mean, sure, I would probably spend more time with, certain people and probably a little less with others. And, I would do things a little differently, maybe, but not dramatically so. I mean, I'd want to know. But I might be the only person that feels that way.
Yeah. I like uncertainty. Uncertainty keeps me motivated. And to be honest, in this current state of society, I think if people knew their day and their time, I think they'd crawl in a corner. I don't think they could handle it. Even if it was 50, 60 years out, I'm not sure people could handle it.
I think some could, but I agree. There's a chunk of the population that wouldn't be able to.
Yeah, I think it would be. Yeah, Lindsay's saying right now, see, I'm the opposite. I'd be paralyzed with panic knowing exactly when. I'd ruminate on the countdown. My brain is not wired to handle that knowledge. I think that's a lot of people. I think they would shut off because that knowledge is God level knowledge. And I don't think the human brain is wired for it, especially now when so many have a hard time just even controlling basic life and emotions and feelings. And Lindsay, just to be clear, I'm not saying that's you because I brought up your comment, so don't think that. I'm just talking in broad generalities here. But I think people would really be hurt and be hurting, and I don't think they could deal with it, which is a shame because I think that would then cause life to be wasted. I will say this: the older I get, the more I'm aware of the clock. There are way further days behind me than there are ahead. I know this, and I'm okay with it, and I'm at peace with it. But but there is, I suppose, a sense of urgency more than ever to get done the things that I want to do, because I know that there's not as much time to accomplish it, and I want to leave my mark. But but I don't know for me either that if I knew, okay, I've got 15 years, for example, I don't know that that would make me any more motivated or necessarily change how I live, because you asked if I would be morally obligated, if we would be morally obligated to change the way we live. I don't think it would affect morality at all. Honestly, it'd probably hurt morality for a lot of people, especially if their time was close. I think a lot of people would just be like, screw it, I'm just going to do what I want. I think there are certain mysteries that the human brain just has to have. And one of them is your timer. I don't think you benefit by knowing it, personally.
I mean, yeah, the irony for me in this answer is I have very few fears. Death is one of them because it is the unknown for me. Again, not being a person of faith, but not being a person of not faith either. Here's the problem. You know, when you're in that agnostic zone where you're just looking for an answer, it means that you haven't found an answer. And so what it means is you don't know. But I will say, having a date where I would finally know one way or the other. Or would you? I guess if there's nothing, you really wouldn't know. You just, or maybe for a split moment, you would know, and that's oblivion for you, and that's it. I mean, I don't know. But to me, it would be at least I'd know. I'd know what happens. Like I'd know that there's, and we're all gonna know one way or the other anyway. I don't know. There's some things I like surprise and I like mystery, a surprise birthday party or a surprise dinner or whatever. Someone just brings you a donut, surprise. You know what? That's great. But surprise, you're dead. I'd rather kind of know. I mean, and again, I know I'm the only person like that. I'm used to it. I'm used to being like the weirdo, but I realize the paradox in my thinking, but I don't know. That's one area. Would I feel morally obligated to change my life though, or change how I act? Not morally obligated. No. It wouldn't make me any more or less of an ass than I already am. I mean,
well, that's comforting.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm not going to treat people any different. If the day was tomorrow, I wouldn't suddenly just, poop all over people or whatever. I would treat people with the same level that I do now. I don't know. I don't believe in this idea of being different to someone just because the end is coming. If you're going to be a good person, be a good person. I mean, just do that. You shouldn't have to do it because, I'm running out of time. So now I'd better make up for it just in case there is a God. I'd better make sure I make the end look really good. I'll live the back end really, really clean for the next year or 3, because that's not how it works either. I mean,
no, God is not going to judge you on your final act.
Yeah.
He takes a look at the entire play.
Right. So that's what I mean. So like, I don't think it would change how I am. I'd try to still do whatever I could just to, be the best friend that I could to the people I'm friends with, and the best person I could be, just in general. But, I don't know. That's me though. I know this is it's a minority thought, and it's kind of a weird thought, and it's morbid, I suppose, but, I don't know. That's where I'm at with it. It's fascinating to think about though.
No, it is. I'm stuck on are you morally obligated to change how you live? Question. Because I really think that more people than you realize would probably run in the opposite direction and start being more immoral.
Oh, sure.
And I hate that, but I honestly think that's what would go down.
Oh, without a doubt, Dan. That's not even a question. Because they have nothing to lose.
Yeah, I mean that's how they would that's what they would think, but it's so
Right.
not true. You know, because in reality, even if you knew the day or not, nothing should change about how you handle your time on Earth.
No.
But I think too many people would say, well, screw it, I'm gonna die anyways. Well, guess what? You were gonna die anyways. But
Right.
but people are weird. Barbara, thank you for the $10 donation, by the way.
Oh, that's very nice, Barbara. Really do appreciate that. So that's the thing, right? I think that regardless of your faith, regardless of your belief system, you know, we should all have some sort of moral compass. We should all have some sort of something that guides us so that we are, you know, decent people, whether we're going to die tomorrow or live for another 60 years. Look, you know, based on the track record in my family, I may have 10 years left, or I may make it past that gauntlet that most men don't make it past, but the few that do live to be 90 something years old in my family. I mean, that's, you know, the women live to be like 100 or more. You know, my grandma Berg, my grandma on my mom's side, she was 102. You know, it's just because you know when the end is coming doesn't mean you suddenly just throw away who you were just so you can be a shithead. I mean, that's just not what you need to do. But
yeah, but isn't it interesting though that people would do that? Interesting in a bad way, but I think we're in agreement. I mean, people would certainly do that, even if their clock was like way out there. Well, I've only got 20 years left, so I'm going to go be an ass for the next 20 years. What is it about people that would get them to think that way? But I guarantee you so many would.
Well, because Dan, a lot of people are just
bizarre.
A lot of people are douches. I mean, that's really, look, we see it so often that
solid explanation.
We watch court every day, Dan. We see, and it's not even always the worst of society. Some people, you know, they're in there for a traffic ticket, but they're treating the judge or they're treating the court staff or they're treating other people like garbage. Why? And sometimes they're young people and maybe they just don't have a good footing in life. And you know, and we don't know. Sometimes you just see someone in there and maybe they're just having a bad day and they're not really a bad person. But there's a lot of people that just don't necessarily have a grip on things. Now, I choose to think that most of humanity is at least decent and many of them are good. But there's certainly a huge sect that isn't. And I know if they were given that knowledge, and that's why, you know, well, I'd want the knowledge. I probably selfishly wouldn't want other people to have that knowledge because there's a lot of people that, and I don't think you would do this, Dan, and I don't think Beth would do it. I don't think Michelle would do it, but I think there's a lot of people out there that would, you know, decide, hey, I got 17 years, so I'm going to just go out and I'm going to burn every bridge or better yet, you know, I've got till Friday at 6 p.m. All right. Here's my list of people that I want to take out. Here's these are the buildings I want to burn down, you know, all this kind of thing. And obviously they would just sow a bunch of chaos all over the place.
Here's something
very true.
Here's something that just came to mind. If people knew the day and the time, would they then live life recklessly, not even to the point of like trying to do harm, but they're like, screw it, I'll jump out of the airplane with no parachute because I know it's not my time. You know?
Ryan, this reminds me of an
interesting.
episode of Family Guy where Death is incapacitated, and so
Yep.
Yeah.
Peter jumps off the building and nothing happens, and everyone learns that there's no consequence, there's no death, so people are just shooting each other, beating each other in the head. All this stuff is going on. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
would you just do stupid crap because you're
It literally
basically
becomes
immortal?
the Purge.
Yeah. You're immortal until this moment.
Well, yeah, I mean that's what we would be saying, wouldn't
Yeah.
it? Or the universe would bend to make sure that the bad never happened, so you could be reckless, even it like you go to fire the weapon at somebody, but it's not their time, so the gun jams.
Or here's the other thing, Dan. This is a Twilight Zone episode, right? So you'd go to fire, the gun would fire, it would ricochet off of something, it would hit you, put you in a coma, and then you'd die at your appointed time. But you'd stay in the coma for the rest of the time. You know
That's
what I mean?
a good
Like
point too.
something crazy like this. You know, it's just my little Rod Serling brain kind of churning there. But I mean, that's something that would, you know, I could see that happening. You know, there's kind of an episode of Twilight Zone that is like actually like that. This guy who is like this hypochondriac. He always thinks that something's going to kill him, and so this guy shows up. Of course, turns out to be the devil. And he said, "Well, you'll never be sick again. You know, nothing will harm you." But I always put a special clause in my contract. You know, whenever you want to go, you can. You just let me know. And this guy's like, "You mean to tell me I'll live forever? I'll live as long as I want?" Yeah, you'll live as long as you want. You won't show any sign of aging. You know. So this guy's like, "Yeah, cool." So then he starts doing all sorts of stuff. He puts his hands in fire. He's, you know, nothing can kill him. He jumps off a building. He does all this stuff. Well, of course, what winds up happening is he winds up, if I remember the episode correctly, winds up killing somebody else, though. And so he's in court, and he wants to get the death penalty. Oh, yeah, because he kills his wife. That's what he did. He killed his wife.
Yeah.
And he wants the death penalty, and his lawyer's like, "I got great news. I got you off of the death penalty." He's like, "Why?" Because he wanted to go into the electric chair and watch everyone's face when nothing happened to him. Mm-hmm. So now he gets life in prison, which of course for him would be forever. So, you know, that's one of those just kind of cool, and that's what made me think of this when we started talking about it. But yeah, obviously there is that. So it is a fascinating. These are an interesting group of topics tonight, I will say.
I think you should be obligated to yourself if you knew the day and the time.
Absolutely.
To live as best you could, because if something went wrong, you know, because you're being stupid, you're gonna deal with it probably in the worst way possible. Like Lindsay put in the chat, you know, I'd be a quadriplegic and die a year later from complications. But yeah, I mean that's what could happen. You know, you mess yourself up and then spend the rest of your days in misery because of it.
Or it winds up like, obviously this is fiction, but in some of the shows that we've watched before, what was it? The Originals, like a vampire kind of show. But because they never die, they're forced to watch everyone they ever cared about age and die. And that's part of the double-edged sword there. So, I mean, they're still able to live out a normal life, but they can't make any deep attachments because they know that other person is eventually going to perish, even though they won't.
Yeah.
It's another Twilight Zone episode, by the way. The guy that has lived for like 2,000 years.
I remember that one too.
Yeah. It's kind of
I
funny
just
how
remember the originals.
yeah. Yeah, but no, it's that would be strange too, to just sit there and watch everybody else age out and nothing really happens. So you just keep right on going.
A more modern example for the audience, a more modern media example, Hollywood example, The Green Mile, where Tom Hanks's character Paul Edgecombe is forced to just keep living while everybody around him dies. Same idea.
Yeah. Yep. Same
and
idea.
he's just sad and miserable. But that was his punishment for allowing John Coffey to go to the electric chair. I don't know. I get what you said, Michael, about you'd want to know. I don't.
I know. And again, this is the offbeat thoughts of Mike. I'm generally in the minority on a lot of things. This one, I think I'm uniquely so. And again, it doesn't necessarily make sense, maybe, but that's just my thought. Now, again, for me, it wouldn't change. I don't think it would change how I am. I always just, look, I almost died yesterday, right? I had a really bad asthma attack yesterday. And this is the thing too, is, it's one of those things. I have asthma. I every once in a while it flares up, and sometimes it flares up super bad. And I always think, I wonder if this is going to be the moment. I wonder if this is going to be it. I wonder, is this, and the thoughts go through your mind. Is this going to be what gets me? Is this it? Boy, that sucks. That's the thought I had. Just, it's like, oh, well, that's unfortunate.
I've wished it a couple of times when I've had kidney stones. Like, please just take me now.
Yeah.
But
yeah. So, this is, I'm glad we talked about it. Boy, we, last couple of days, we've had some really, very philosophical topics. I like it,
Beth is going deep this week.
Yeah.
I'm sorry about everything I said about how you do these shows.
Make it stop. Hurts my brain.
Don't worry. Next week, we'll just do nothing but dick and poop jokes.
Well, that'll be fun.
It's the cool thing about this is that we can have a broad audience. We can have the philosophical people, the people that like the heady, deep stuff, the stuff that'll just make stoners just sit back in their couch and eat more Funyuns. And then
Lord.
we can also have the topics where, we get the yucks, we get the laughs and the we do the stuff that people, that they want to see, that stuff, the slapstick and the dick and poop jokes, the Jim Carrey stuff, all that stuff. We can be this is a very broad show. I always tell my audience, this is the most unique show everywhere. And here it is. Another fine example of that.
Well, along those lines, let's poll the audience for a moment. Put a 1 in the chat if, for a small fee, you would be interested in seeing the discussions that the three of us have before or after the show.
Keeping in mind, it is definitely NSFW sometimes. Sometimes
Yes.
it's very innocuous. It goes and here's the thing, it goes 0 to 60. I mean, we could be talking about, a cookie recipe, and next thing we're doing is talking about, stuff we can't say.
I was just gonna say,
Yeah.
You can't even say it.
Yeah, it's no holds barred.
It is.
Lindsay, is that a 1 or you'd pay $1 for it?
$1, Bob.
What's the small fee? Well, I don't know yet.
Yeah. It'd be an
Something
innocuous amount, but you get
Something
to.
we're kicking around here at the ITB office.
It's yes. It's again, it's NSFW. It's not politically correct. Don't come in and expect, something that is measured. And it's all me, by the way. It's Dan says like almost nothing offensive except for that one time that was just horrible. But, you know.
Oh, I've said plenty offensive.
Hey,
Don't shortchange me, my friend.
I mean, not to me. Nothing is offensive to me. So I don't know. You're talking to the wrong guy on that one.
That's
but
fair.
Maybe. I mean, I don't know. People get offended by everything nowadays. So that's the problem. That's why you have to put the disclaimer out there. If you choose to watch, the rule is you cannot be offended. You can't come back and say, these guys are awful. They say terrible things. Oh my God, I can't believe they'd use such. I've never heard such a gratuitous usage of the word but.
Well, and did you not see the bruises 3 shows ago that I had after Beth beat me senseless for the things I said?
See? This is what we're talking about. You can't go in with, you cannot have a soft skin, a soft mind. You got to have some duck feathers if you're going to be watching the post or the pre-show or the whatever show.
Well, a decent amount of ones, so maybe we'll consider it.
Right.
It would be taped, not live. But all right.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. Just in case.
Just in case, because, otherwise. Yeah, it would be. Yeah. FBI, open up. Yeah. It'd probably be some of that.
I'm not going to read it out loud, but everybody look at chat and read what Todd wrote.
I cannot see it. Sadly.
I'll read it to you later,
wow.
Michael.
Okay.
Okay.
That's a statement right there.
Todd has that she's wonderful. Has a lot of. I can only imagine.
Yeah. All right. Anyways, on that note, true false round.
Yeah, I had a transition plan, but no transition needed with that.
No, we've moved on.
Yep.
All right, 5 true false questions. We get 3 minutes for Beth to read them and for us to debate and discuss and decide. She's either telling us the truth or she's lying. We'll find out. This is the fun round. Feel free to play along in the chat, shall we?
Yeah.
Question 1, go.
In parts of medieval Europe, being
True.
naturally
If it's in the past, it has to be true.
And it's stupid.
Rule.
Being naturally left-handed was once illegal, and people could be fined for writing with their left hand.
In medieval Europe?
Yes.
My only problem with that is people could be fined for writing with their left hand. How many actually knew how to write in medieval Europe?
There's a handful. Quite a few.
A left handful.
A left handful, yes.
Yeah. That's my only problem with that one. I mean, it's stupid and it's in the past, so by your rules, Mike, it has to be true.
But think of how many different kingdoms or areas that were separated back then. And
yes, but think of all the serfdom and the poverty and the plague. People don't have time to write. They're trying to raise their goats and sheep.
Yeah, this is one. I don't want to violate my rule, though, because I have these rules for a reason, and I like to follow them. But even I find this is so crazy that it just can't be true, and therefore, I guess, I don't know, but it's in the past, it's in the medieval Europe, and it's really dumb.
Todd,
But what's that?
I was just say Todd just said yeah, but they wrote the Bible, but
With their right hand.
But in medieval times, before Luther, nobody had access to the Bible except the priests, so they weren't in wide circulation. That was part of Luther's problem, was that nobody had access to the Bible.
I mean, I can't believe
It
they
was,
were
did
that.
have the monks doing,
there was gatekeeping there. What?
they did have the monks doing transcription. We just learned it wasn't with beer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. This feels false to me. If you want to split so one of us survives, we could. But
Yeah,
I gotta go false on this one.
I'm just gonna follow, even though I kind of agree with you, Dan. I'm gonna follow my rule, and I'm just gonna say it's true.
Split decision.
This one is false.
Yay!
But in a very
I'm glad it's false.
very specific way. History didn't fine people for being left-handed, but it absolutely did judge them for it. For centuries, being left-handed was associated with bad luck, dishonesty, and even evil. Children were often forced to switch hands, especially in school. And fun fact, the word sinister comes from the Latin word for left. So no, they didn't get tickets for using their left hand or anything of the sort, but socially they were branded and on the wrong side of history, so to speak.
How is the Republican Party not pointing this out? That left means sinister.
That is a good point.
There is serious like commercial and branding potential there that they're missing.
Yeah.
The Republican Party sucks at media. Not to go political, but it's all right there for them.
Among other things.
I
don't know. That just, I'm surprised nobody's glowing.
Yeah, I am surprised. Yeah, that's surprising, but
it's a layup.
Yeah.
Huh.
Although maybe their base isn't heady enough to go, oh, what's a medieval Europe? Anyway.
That's possible.
Yeah. Hard to tell.
Ready for the next one?
Yeah, let's do this thing. Go.
Okay. Astronomers have observed stars behaving like predators, actively pulling in and consuming their own planets as part of a feeding process.
Alpha Centauri, I want you to sit down in that seat right there, please.
Would you like to slice pizza?
So, let me understand something. You've been shining this light on a child. Yeah, stars as predators. Chris Hansen says yes.
How have we not seen a star in one of our courts then?
Oh, we've seen lots of stars. There are people that think they're stars.
Yeah, no, we have. I mean, we've seen Antonio Brown. We've seen a Duggar.
Yeah.
People at least with some level of fame. But a true star.
A red giant, a white dwarf.
Nightmare fuel.
Yeah.
Again,
it seems like something a black hole would do and not a star.
It's something a neutron star maybe, but not like a regular star.
Yeah.
A Jimmy Neutron?
Todd, like Pac-Man.
Doing the neutron dance.
Do. Waka, 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 waka.
I'll just go with true only because it's silly. I can't imagine that it is, but it's these kinds of questions that seem to turn out to be true. For no other explanation. I don't have another explanation.
Yeah, true. She rarely gives us two falses in a row, so that's going to be my reason.
Well, there you go. See, Dan? See, we're trying to like SAT this logic, like, how they write the question logic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Rather than going after the question itself.
The answer is C.
Yeah. All right. We're both true.
It's false.
Damn it.
And I love how believable it sounds, though, because stars can actually destroy their planets, but not because they're hunting them. They don't chase, they don't feed. As stars age, they expand and can grow so large that they simply engulf anything nearby.
Well, that's actually what I was thinking.
Yeah, but that's different than a feeding process.
Well, they're getting bigger because they're feeding, because they're fat. They're taking in too much celestial calories.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, that's not how it works. Anyway, there's no strategy, there's no intent. They just get bigger.
Yeah, well, that's how I figured they were consuming them. But have you looked at some of the actual predators, like the ones that have sat down with Chris Hansen? These are often very large, ugly people, just like the stars that we're talking about.
I mean, the average weight of the person usually begins with the number 5 at least. No, it's pretty crazy. I don't know. That's obviously stars don't feed necessarily, but at the same time, it sure does seem like that's what goes on. But Dan's right. It does seem like more of a black hole thing because that's what black holes do. They just suck in everything.
Yes.
They do.
We have one of those that lives next door. It's horrible.
Yes, well.
Anyways.
I don't think they're fans of this show.
Probably not.
No.
All right, number 3?
Number 3.
All right, go.
In the 1890s, doctors warned that riding bicycles could cause a condition called bicycle face, which would permanently distort a woman's facial expression.
I tell you, if you ride that bicycle, if you keep riding that bicycle, you're going to get bicycle face.
It's
firecrackers, I tell you.
Doctors who wore the chicken masks with the 11 herbs and spices
the
attached.
You better stop this or else you're going to get bicycle face as I wear my beak. Oh, Nelly. Now, if you'll drink some of this cocaine, Coca-Cola.
When we reference jokes from other episodes, we need to start putting them in the notes so that people can go back and find the original joke.
What type of bike seat? Like one of the old banana seats, or?
It didn't specifically say what type of bicycle seat.
And are we talking like a tricycle?
Just a
bicycle face, especially if you go on that bumpy road, ladies. I don't. Again, I'll say true. Only it's got to be because we've heard far crazier things from that era that doctors have either said and or done.
Wahoo makes a good point. He says done to control women, allegedly. What was the date on this again?
1890s.
All right. Bikes were barely a thing yet. Yeah, I mean, did they not want women to have the freedom of the bicycle?
Yeah. Ulysses S. Grant
freedom
rode a bike.
that would allow.
It seems like because this was one of those things that was just coming in to being, it definitely seems like the kind of thing that like men in positions of authority would be like, don't you dare. And if you ride one of those bikes, your hands won't be able to do the dishes anymore. And you won't be able to be, if you're on a bike, you can't possibly make me a sandwich. Men don't allow your women to do that. They'll get bicycle face. And then they'll start liking the bicycle more than you. And then they'll ride over to somebody else's house.
I've allegedly seen some people that you could argue have bicycle face, but that's another discussion.
They don't even ride a bike.
No, I don't. True.
Yeah, I say true also.
All right.
It is true.
Yay.
And whoever it was in the chat was onto something.
Wahoo.
Yeah. As bicycles became popular, especially among women, some doctors and social critics started warning about something called bicycle face. They claimed cycling would leave women looking strained, exhausted, or even permanently distorted. Not because of any real medical issue, but because apparently women having independence was medically concerning.
That's That's what I was thinking. That was really the point.
It was a control factor.
Yeah.
Wahoo, stand up and take a bow.
Plus, they might get in shape. And if women start having muscles, why, they might be able to fight back from our aggression, men.
Yeah, we don't want that.
We don't want that.
I liked the permanently distorted part, though.
Soon these broads will want to start voting.
All right. 4?
And they did.
Yes.
They did. All right. Go.
In the I can't read. In the 1980s, a mysterious black sticky substance spread across miles of highway in Venezuela. It caused deadly crashes and resisted every attempt to remove it.
So did they have like oil? Venezuela. So it's probably some petroleum based thing.
But this was in the 80s. So they had Dawn dish soap also. Well, it cleans oil off the birds.
I mean,
Dawn cleans your highways.
Reagan sent 5 billion gallons of Dawn to Venezuela.
Yes.
That's where the budget went.
Yeah, Iran, Contra, and Dawn, Venezuela. Oh, shit.
Palm olive. I
read it again.
I swear I've heard about this, but
in the 1980s, a mysterious black sticky substance spread across miles of highway in Venezuela. It caused deadly crashes and resisted every attempt to remove it.
So yeah, like tar, oil, something coming up to the surface. It would resist efforts to remove it if it really was like some kind of slow creep, like well or something, because it just keep refreshing itself until they figured out what it was.
Yeah. I don't remember ever hearing about it, but that doesn't mean it's not true. I mean, I thought maybe I was thinking, have I ever heard of something like this? I know I've heard about some weird stuff, but no, I can't recall exactly what it was. Something from the 80s, but no, I'll say it's true just because
Reagan was involved. She's like, yeah, I don't recall. I can't remember.
Well,
you're stopping by. True, I think.
The sticky stuff we have is in Congress.
I'll go with true. You?
Yeah, I'll say it's true.
All right. We say true.
It is true,
yeah.
Even though it sounds completely fake. In 86, there were drivers in Caracas that started to encounter this black, greasy substance on the road, and it was slick enough to cause serious crashes, sometimes described as being like driving on ice. It spread for miles. It changed with heat and weather. And no matter what they tried, washing it, scraping it, they even fully resurfaced the road, it just kept coming back. Scientists think it might have been a mixture of car fluids and failing asphalt, but they never fully nailed down what it was. So it's still just considered a mystery substance. But it actually caused multiple fatalities.
That's the stuff that they used in the season 1 episode of Star Trek The Next Generation, Skin of Evil, where there was this black thing that killed Tasha Yar.
That's funny, Dan. That's what I was just thinking about that. That is hilarious.
There you go.
And that went to a Dennis Miller level of reference. I mean, that is 2 people will get that. But you know what?
We're the 2 people.
Yes.
All right. Number 5.
Yeah, on that note, are you ready?
This is where the chaos really begins.
Yes.
Yes.
Go.
Okay. A real parasite can infect a snail, take over its eye stalks, make them pulse like colorful caterpillars, and lure birds into eating them.
Oh, we've seen shit like this before. It has to be maybe.
Make them pulse like colorful caterpillars.
This falls into my
So it's
rule
like
of nature
Unsun's
is
eyes.
weird.
So it's like Unsun's eyes.
Yeah.
All right.
LCD or LCD, LSD.
LCD, LSD, USA, MTV, any of that stuff. Pick your favorite 3 letters.
My brain is fried from putting this episode together.
No doubt.
Yeah, this again, nature's weird. Nature does weird things. I would buy into that. But I know there's a couple of these have been false, and I've bought into those, or at least partially.
Her
But
true
nature,
false game is getting better.
yeah. Well, it's not
She's
just
faking
that,
us
but
out more.
But I will say nature is weird. Could I see nature doing something silly like this? I mean, look, we've already had the beetle that's an air fryer. I don't see why this would be false. It does seem a little far fetched. Again, it's very much Twilight Zone-ish, or otherworldly in some way, but that's probably what makes it true.
Lindsay, rave snails luring in stoner birds.
Yes.
See?
Yeah. Yeah. I kind of like true for this one.
Yeah. I do as well.
The beetle, it is an air fryer. Yeah, that too. All right, I think we're true.
It is true, and it's very disturbing. A parasite infects a snail and grows into its eye stalks, making them swell, pulse, and flash in bright, moving patterns, like little caterpillars. And it's not for decoration. It makes the snail more visible to birds. So the parasite needs to get inside the bird to continue its life cycle. So the snail basically becomes a walking neon snack. Nature saw that one and said, how can we make this worse? The parasite is called Leucochloridium paradoxum, if anybody was curious.
I think we need to outlaw parasites. You're bringing up a lot of this sort of thing, and it's messed up.
It is.
Heaven forbid this stuff jump to humans.
It's, yeah. Like Michael has said, nature's scary.
Damn, nature, you scary.
Exactly.
All of a sudden, our eyes start getting multicolored, and like eagles start swooping down to get us.
As a flock of crows is following you, or a murder of crows, should say. This is. We talked about dreams. See, that the problem is now after this show, I am going to have some nightmares about.
Yeah, everybody have fun with this.
Man, don't watch Alfred Hitchcock after this. Boy, oh boy.
No. Huh. All right. Well, this was interesting. This was a good show. I hope everybody had fun. I liked the first 2 topics. I'm not sure what I think about some of these true-false things.
I'm scared.
Recently, yeah.
I said what recently?
That you weren't a fan of my true-false.
Well, I am, but they're disturbing. I mean, they're good questions. Don't get me wrong. But...
Well, disturbing is kind of the
a little bit terrifying.
I know, but I don't like parasites that change your eye color.
Well,
and turn your eyes into disco balls.
I feel like more like a snail every day. I'm moving slower.
Ever seen me going up the stairs?
Right? I don't know. Okay.
Come on, birds.
And on that note, that brings us to a close for tonight.
Yes.
But we'll be back over at the Courtroom Files tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Eastern. And Michael will have his weather video on the Phoenix, Arizona weather discussion.
Correct.
So, and all of these things are linked on the channel and all that kind of stuff. And if you have not already, please do go over to itbshow.com and at the very least sign up for the show notes because they're good and you can see all of Beth's research and deviancy all written out and ready for you. And those get sent out shortly after the show. So be sure to check that out. And we'll be back here Monday. Yeah. 7 a.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. I don't know. YouTube will tell you.
We're doing the show at 4 in the morning. It's in the dark.
Yeah. All right, friends. Thank you so much. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.